Making headlines this hour, President Muizu prioritizes agricultural expansion to achieve food self-sufficiency and reduce import reliance. President Muizu pledges to prioritize ongoing and planned development projects in Narudu Shaviani Atoll. Parliament unanimously authorizes government to join UN Convention against Cybercrime to combat digital offenses. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Minha Maruf. President Dr. Mohammad Muizu identifies agricultural expansion as a central priority of his administration, declaring that national food self-sufficiency is essential to reducing reliance on imports, lowering associated costs, and promoting healthier consumption. The announcement came in a social media post marking Farmers' Day, where the president extended his good wishes to all those engaged in strengthening the agricultural sector. President Muizu has placed particular emphasis on elevating agriculture to the status of a recognized industry. His government has established a ministry dedicated exclusively to agricultural affairs, a move intended to give the sector institutional weight and direction. The ministry is extending direct support to farmers, including training, tools, and other resources. The administration is also prioritizing the development of infrastructure and facilities to improve the domestic marketing of agricultural products, aiming to create a more resilient supply chain. The president's strategy is anchored by a flagship initiative, a large-scale agricultural project in Uturu Tilafaru. Government officials expect the project to reduce the nation's dependence on external food sources and to lower national expenditure on imports. The administration has also stressed that self-sufficiency will ensure citizens have access to food, items certified as healthy, linking the policy to both economic and public health outcomes. President Muizu framed his vision within the country's agricultural heritage, noting that our ancestors had long demonstrated the fertility of the nation's soil. He expressed hope that agriculture could be expanded to a level capable of ensuring comprehensive food security. Furthermore, in an address marking Farmers' Day, Dr. Mariam Maria, the Minister of Agriculture and Animal Welfare, urged greater youth participation in agriculture, warning that the sector's survival depends on its successful transfer to future generations. Although the Maldivian economy is anchored by its marine resources, Minister Maria stressed that agriculture remains indispensable to the nation's future. She described it as central to achieving food security and ensuring sustainable economic development, adding that advancing the sector must be treated as a national priority. Minister Maria acknowledged the geographical constraints that hinder agricultural growth, including limited land availability and the salinity of subsurface water tables. The Agriculture Ministry is pursuing wide-ranging initiatives to diversify and strengthen the sector. One of its priorities is the establishment of an agricultural laboratory to provide essential analysis and research capacity. Efforts to bolster food security also include the distribution of plants to households, beginning with the northern atolls. Minister Maria appealed to the public to allocate land on every island as a collective contribution to food security, urging national cooperation with the ministry in this endeavor. Concluding her address, Minister Maria reflected on the broader purpose of National Farmers' Day, calling for unity and shared responsibility. She expressed confidence that every Maldivian, from farmers to resorts and businesses, has a role to play in supporting the nation's agricultural sector. We will be back after Isha prayers.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدًا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وابعثه مقامًا محمودًا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.
දිවේ රාජ්‍යගේ කවමී බැංක් of Maldives ಮಾಲಿ ಹೇಲೋನ್ ತೆರಿಕಂ ಇತುರು ಕುರ್ಮಶಾ ಬೆಂಕೆ ಹಿದ್ಮೆತ್ತವಗೆ ಮಾಲೂಮಾತ್ ಕೆನೆಸ್ತನಿ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಬೆಲೋನ್ ತೆರೆಂಗೆ ಹಿತುಗೆ ಒಫೆದೆ ಸ್ವಾಲ್ತವಗೆ ಜವಾಬ್ ತವ್ವೆಸ್ ಮಿ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಎದುರಿಕೊ ಮೀ ಅಳುಗಣ್ಮೆ ಹಿಬೆಫುಳುನ ಗುಳಿಗೆ ಗೆನೆಸ್ತೆ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮೆ ಬ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಪ್ರೋಗ್ರಾಮ ಇಂತಜಾರು ಕೊಲ್ಲವ್ವ
Welcome back to PSM News in English. President Dr. Mohamed Muizzu announces that the much-anticipated Milandu Airport project is on track for completion and opening within the next 30 months. Addressing the residents of Milandu, Shaviani Atoll as part of his ongoing tour of the atoll, President Dr. Moizu emphasized the airport's pivotal role in fostering comprehensive development for the island and the entire northern atoll. The landmark airport project, a key promise made to the people of Milandu, has been awarded to Maldives Airports Company Limited (MACL). The selection of the site, according to the President, was carefully considered to ensure optimal land utilization in the medium and long term. The project will involve the reclamation of an additional 40 hectares of land, with the dredging work slated for completion within a maximum of 8 months. President Dr. Moizu assured the community that the airport project will proceed with expediency, free from any delays. Beyond the airport, the President highlighted several other significant development initiatives inaugurated or underway during his visit, underscoring his administration's commitment to Milandu's developmental progress. These include the establishment of a modern 700-capacity Islamic center, a 30-bed hospital, and a 4-story police station. The introduction of passport renewal services and newly opened sports facilities were also cited as crucial steps in the island's advancement. The President also witnessed the groundbreaking for many infrastructural projects, including Islamic Center and police station. The President also took time to meet with island leaders to discuss developmental priorities. The President is now into his 3rd day of his 4-day tour of Shaviani Atoll as part of his nationwide initiative to travel across all Maldivian atolls, engaging with atoll, island, and city councils directly. President Dr. Mohammad Moizu pledges to prioritize all ongoing and planned development projects in Narudu Shaviani Atoll, assuring residents that their island's developmental progress is a key focus for his administration. The commitment was made during an address to the Narudu community as part of his ongoing tour of Shaviani Atoll, where several significant infrastructure upgrades were highlighted. The President detailed a series of immediate and future initiatives aimed at enhancing local infrastructure facilities. He stated that the construction of 4 new classrooms and a multi-purpose hall, designed to elevate space constraints at the local school, will be handed over this month. Additionally, the Narudu football ground is slated for a comprehensive upgrade, promising all necessary facilities with work expected to commence this year. He detailed plans are also in motion to include the renovation of the futsal ground and the development of a handball court within the next year's budget. In terms of healthcare services, President Dr. Moizu emphasized that efforts to expand the Narudu Health Center to improve service delivery will continue. The budget for the upcoming year will allocate resources for an additional ward, a laboratory, and more staff, while a significant goal for next year is to extend the health center's operating hours to 16 hours daily. Further development plans, according to the President, include the construction of a new council building and the acceleration of work to resolve the island's sewage issues, with the project expected to gather pace next month. Addressing concerns regarding the island harbour, the President confirmed that the relevant ministry has received authorization for an expansive upgrade, with all necessary measures to ensure a safe harbour to be implemented following an environmental impact assessment. On the matter of land allocation, President Dr. Moizu announced that the relevant ministry will empower the Narudu Council to manage such processes, reiterating the government's steadfast commitment to implementing crucial development projects within the island. President Dr. Moizu, during the visit, witnessed the awarding of the contract to Road Development Corporation (RDC) to upgrade the Narudu Health Center, alongside the coastal protection contract to the Maldives Transport and Contracting Company (MTCC). He also attended the groundbreaking ceremonies on the new police station and the waste management center. During the visit, the President took time to meet with members of the Narudu Island Council, the Women's Development Committee, and heads of local institutions to discuss the island's key development priorities. The Parliament unanimously authorizes the government to join the United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime, a landmark treaty that sets global standards for preventing and prosecuting offences in the digital sphere. The resolution was adopted during Wednesday's parliamentary session, with all members present voting in favour. The decision grants the government formal consent to proceed with accession, underscoring the country's commitment to strengthening its role in international efforts against cybercrime. President Dr. Mohammad Moizu presented the convention to Parliament on 14th October for consideration and approval, a necessary step for the Maldives to sign and ratify the treaty. After reviewing the proposal, the Foreign Relations Committee stressed the importance of swift ratification, arguing that early accession would allow the Maldives to influence the principles guiding the treaty and to seek technical assistance in building its capacity to address digital threats. The convention, formally titled the United Nations Convention Against Cybercrime, was adopted by the General Assembly in December 2024. It is the first international criminal justice treaty in more than 2 decades and establishes common standards for tackling crimes unique to cyberspace, such as hacking and denial of service attacks, as well as traditional offenses committed online, including fraud and trafficking. Safeguards are also embedded in the treaty, designed to protect human rights and fundamental freedoms. These provisions aim to balance stronger enforcement with the preservation of privacy and free expression, a balance that has become increasingly central to debates on digital governance. Formal signing procedures are scheduled to take place in Vietnam from 25th to 26th October. Once signed, the Maldives will join other nations in committing to implement the treaty's provisions, including measures to improve the collection and exchange of electronic evidence essential for prosecuting serious crimes. According to the Foreign Relations Committee, accession is expected to deliver tangible benefits for the country's digital landscape. Stronger security protections and enhanced investigative skills are among the anticipated outcomes, positioning the country to better safeguard its digital infrastructure while contributing to the global effort to combat cybercrime. Attorney General Ahmad Usham accuses the former administration, led by the now opposition Maldivian Democratic Party (MDP), of authorizing more than $51.88 million in compensation and settlements to private parties through mechanisms he described as unconstitutional and lacking legal authority. Testifying before Parliament, Attorney General Usham outlined what he called unlawful practices in the handling of state compensation and detailed a high-profile contractual dispute with Malaysia-based technology firm Bestinet that has left the government facing significant financial exposure. According to Attorney General Usham, the previous government disbursed over $51.88 million in compensation, much of it processed through a settlement committee established by the President's office. The committee, he said, not only authorized cash payments but also transferred islands and lagoons as part of settlements, with these assets included in the total valuation. He stressed that the rules governing dispute resolution between the state and private parties, introduced on 28 November 2022, operated without statutory authority. His office, he added, had no role in the committee's decisions, which he described as unconstitutional. The Attorney General said compensation was also provided outside the committee's remit. On his advice, President Dr. Mohammad Moizu dissolved the Settlement Committee on 21 November 2023. Attorney General Usham confirmed that the lagoons and islands released under the committee's agreements have since been recovered by the state. The Attorney General also addressed the dispute with Bestinet, a company contracted to manage migrant labor recruitment. He said the issue stemmed from the government's failure to implement or uphold the agreement signed in 2016 with Maldives Immigration. Bestinet formally sought $13.7 million in compensation in addition to other damages. In 2023, the Attorney General of the previous administration advised the Settlement Committee then in place to proceed with the case. Upon review, Attorney General Usham found that the former government had allowed nearly 5 years to pass without making a decision on the agreement or notifying Bestinet of its intentions. He concluded that this inaction constituted a material breach of contract obligations. He advised that if the matter proceeded to court, Bestinet would likely succeed in claiming the full amount sought. He also warned that arbitration would impose heavy costs on the state. As a result, he recommended entering into a new agreement with Bestinet, expressing confidence that such a settlement would not result in a loss for the government. France's LVMH, the world's largest luxury goods group, reports a 1% rise in third-quarter sales, helped by helped by improved demand in China as the industry grapples with a prolonged slump. Sales at the fashion and leather goods division, home to flagship brands Louis Vuitton and Dior, and accounting for over two-thirds of profits, were down 2% versus a year earlier. The quarterly trading update beat a visible alpha consensus cited by HSBC that had seen flat overall sales and a 4% decline for the fashion and leather division. LVMH said in a statement, trends in Asia, excluding Japan, a market dominated by China, improved significantly 9 months into the business year. Total sales at the conglomerate controlled by French billionaire Bernard Arnault, which also owns brands such as jeweler Tiffany, Moet, and Chandon Champagne, and beauty retailer Sephora, rose 1% to $21.17 million in the July to September period. UNICEF says important equipment for saving the lives of children has been lost at Gaza's Al-Rantisi Children's Hospital, destroyed during the war. UNICEF said the loss of life-saving equipment such as neonatal ventilators and neonatal incubators will cost the lives of thousands of children who will not have access to critical medical services. UNICEF's emergency coordinator in Gaza, Hamish Young, said the organization tried to come and get the equipment out of the hospital several times.
I'm here at Rantisi Hospital shortly after hostilities in Gaza City have ended. As you can see, there is an enormous level of destruction. As well as the hospital being taken out of action, a lot of important equipment like neonatal ventilators, neonatal incubators for saving the lives of children has also been lost with this destruction. As a result, thousands of children will not have access to critical life-saving medical services and the equipment that the doctors and nurses need to save their lives.
In early 2025, restoration works on the facility began and repairs allowing for the reopening of the emergency department and intensive care unit (ICU) took place. According to UNICEF, the hospital was hit again in early October, days before the ceasefire took effect, resulting in the destruction of medical equipment, and dozens of patients, many of them children, were forced to flee under fire. Saudi Arabia claims a 0-0 draw with Iraq in Jeddah to seal qualification for next year's World Cup finals in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Herve Renard's side only needed 1 point against Graham Arnold's Iraq and an injury time saved by goalkeeper Nawaf Al-Aqidi to keep out Hassan Abdul Karim's curling free kick ensured the Saudis confirmed their 7th appearance at a World Cup finals since making their debut in 1994.
Congratulations to the President Yasser, the Minister of Sport, and Salem, the captain, and all the players, because they did it. It was not easy a few months ago, but we did it. This is the most important.
The result means Saudi Arabia win Group B of the 4th round of Asia's preliminaries, finishing level on 4 points with the Iraqis but ahead of their neighbors on goals scored, having beaten Indonesia 3-2 in their opening match, while Iraq could only muster a 1-0 win over the third-place finishers. Iraq now advanced to a 2-legged playoff against Group A runners-up the United Arab Emirates in November to determine which team will represent Asia in March's Interconfederation playoffs. From a ceramic chair to a lamp made with insect resin, All Things Design goes on show at Pad London this week, a fair dedicated to historical and contemporary creations. Running October 14th to 19th at the city's Berkeley Square, the 17th edition of the fair features nearly 70 galleries from different countries showcasing old collectibles as well as modern, functionable art. These include elaborate cabinets, sleek lamps, and eye-catching seating, including a ceramic chair and one crafted from cardboard by designer Max Lamb in the Gallery Fumi exhibit space.
So the works are sculptural yet functional. Most of the works have function, so they can be used on a daily life.
At the Serra Maesco Gallery show space were an array of pieces made from natural materials, including wood and insect resin. Fair founder Patrick Perrin also said there was a trend towards more refined pieces. Perrin founded the London Fair in 2007, following on from the Paris Fair, which first debuted in 1998. And that's all we have for now. Thank you for watching. Wish you all a pleasant day ahead.